Hello everyone, my name is Reese and I am a reader. I also like talking about books and I don't think I do it enough. I recently went away to Germany for a time and I ended up reading a book along with someone else. And we were discussing the book in lots and lots of details and I really enjoyed talking about a book, which I've never really had the chance to do before. So I decided to set myself a little challenge. I was going to read some books, maybe be a bit more critical about them than I have been in the past, and make some videos and some reviews about these books, and I would put them out to the world so I can have a discussion with people. I decided I should probably set out a plan for what books I should read and not just go into it blindly. So I had a little look at a list that Captured in Words, another YouTuber, put up online, and I decided I would go off of that. So here is my plan and my plan of action as to what I'm going to be doing when reading books. And it is a list of 10 from about 2023 that I think he put up. And I'm just going to read through the list, and some of them I've already read, some of them I haven't. I'm going to review each one and just see how it goes. If you want to get involved in the read through, then please join me. I would love to chat with some people about it. That's the whole reason I'm doing this. We're going to start with number 10, which is Brian McClellan's Powder Mage trilogy. Now, this is the first one in the trilogy. It is The Promise of Blood. Now, to tell the truth, I have actually read this one before. I already own the books, and I have actually already read this one. I'm going to do that. This is going to be the first one I'm going to review. It was a long time since I've read it though, so I'm looking forward to jumping in. It's a sort of flintlock fantasy. It's very sort of 18th century gunpowder, but magic, and there's the clash of sort of the old world and new world. I'm looking forward to jumping in and seeing what it's like and reading it again. I've already read the first one and I am enjoying it, but I will not say any more as of now. I am thinking I'm also going to read, he's now got another trilogy in that world, which I think I'm going to also read as well, but I've not read that one, so we'll see how that one goes. Now, number 9 is The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne, and I have read nothing by John Gwynne. I think it's 4 books. I'm quite looking forward to getting started with it. I've heard lots of things that it's quite gritty. It's sort of I think it's a coming of age story, which fits with some of the stuff that I previously read, some of which is going to come up on this list. So I'm quite looking forward to delving into that. I think it's got it's quite a good mix of sort of the classic sort of tropes that you might expect from fantasy, but taken with a modern sort of look on it. So I'm quite looking forward to getting into that story, but at the moment I know nothing about it. Number 8 is The Book of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin, and again, I know nothing of it. I know that it is slightly aimed at slightly younger, and that doesn't worry me. I actually recently read the entirety of the Chronicles of Narnia, which was an interesting read, but I'm quite looking forward to, because I know a lot of people say that the Book of the Earthsea was a lot of inspiration for them, and I know a lot of people read it when they were younger. I mean, yes, I'm a bit older now, so it might not have quite the same effect as when I was young, but I'm holding out that it's still going to be pretty good, and I'm very much looking forward to that one as well. Number 7. Now, this might be blasphemous, but I'm going to read The Realm of the Elderlings. I mean, it starts off with a trilogy, but I think there's like 15 books or something silly in it now. And it's by Robin Hobb, and I have never read any Robin Hobb. I don't know why I haven't, because I've heard she's got lovely prose. I know her books can sometimes be a bit of a slow burn. They're very sort of characterful, and that's something I love. I mean, I love all of the slow burny books. I mean, I don't want to mention them, but some of the books that are coming up later that's where I started. Things like Robert Jordan, things like Tad Williams, all of those kinds of things where it's slow burny, it builds into it, lots of descriptive. I like descriptive prose and things like that. So I'm very much looking forward to reading The Realm of the Elderlings. I'm going to start with the first trilogy, which the name escapes me now, but I'm going to start with that one. I'll see how I go with that one. If I really enjoy it, I'll do some more. If I don't, maybe I won't, but we'll see how it goes. Now, number 6 is actually where I started in fantasy. It is Memory, Sorrow and Thorn by Tad Williams. This is my original the Dragonbone chair book, and as you can see, it is absolutely battered. There is sellotape all up the side. It has been read many, many times. In fact, I actually can't read this book anymore. I've had to get an ebook for it because I dare not open this book anymore. I'm actually being very, very gentle with it now because it's got a lot of memory. So this book I was maybe 11 or 12. It was a family friend gave me the book. She just sort of bought it for my birthday, I think, at the time, and I read it. It actually took me a few attempts to read it because it is a slow burn. It is quite dense, but I loved it. I love it. It gives me that cozy feeling. I get such nostalgia when I read this. I've since read the entire series to date, including the newer series that is written in the same world, and most of the novellas. There's one I haven't read yet. So when it comes to this, I mean, depending on how long it takes me to read the rest of them, I might not do a full read through of these because I actually only read these earlier this year, or certainly the second series earlier this year. So what I might do then is reading the novella that I haven't read, and also the new book that's coming out in like a few weeks, I think. So I'll probably read that, depending on how long it's taken me up till then. I might just do a full read through. I do love this book. We'll see. Number 5 is another one that I have read before, but actually I think I've only read it once, or certainly the whole series once. And again, it might be another blasphemous one. That is A Song of Ice and Fire. Obviously start with A Game of Thrones. Now, I actually struggled with this one a little bit. Not in that I did find it good, as I think I was reading this during the hype of the series. And actually, I would think I was just off the back of Wheel of Time and stuff. So I was on like a big, like, Robert Jordan, whoa, sort of vibe. And I don't think this landed quite as well as it may have done at any other time in my life. So I'm interested to give this another go. I found it a little bit boring at times. Certainly not the beginning book. This book, I remember enjoying immensely. But some of the later ones I found a little bit harder. I've read a lot since then, so it'd be interesting to see how my tastes have changed, and I am interested and really looking forward to getting back into this one. I'm actually quite excited, considering it's not actually that high on my like best fantasy list, which again is a bit blasphemous. Number 4, and again this is another one that I haven't read, it's a big one, is the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. Now I have read Brandon Sanderson. I originally started, I started with his finish of Wheel of Time. That's when I first got introduced, and I immediately liked his writing style, and I was like, I need to read a bit more of this guy. So I delved into Atlantis. That was my first read. I've also read Mistborn and the second Mistborn trilogy, or quadrilogy series, whatever you're calling it. And I enjoyed all of it immensely. I think it's very fast-paced writing, but I've never touched Stormlight Archive. We've got the 5th one coming out literally like in a week or two. So I think it's a perfect time to jump in, because I know this Stormlight Archive is meant to be 2 sets of 5 that will be one big overarching story. So this seems like a really good place to get involved. I have looked up online and seen that it's a good idea to read some of his other Cosmere stuff. Obviously, I'm all up to date on my Mistborn, but I do want to read Warbreaker, so I might just sort of throw that in somewhere in the mix, maybe in between some of the other series, when I just want to like a little bit of a break from some of these big, long, epic fantasies kind of thing. I might just throw that in, just so that I'm up to date on my Cosmere stuff. Number 3, it's one of my favourite series of all times. I'm really looking forward to getting back into it, because it's been a few years since I've read it. It is Robert Jordan's A Wheel of Time. Very excited to read this again. I don't think I've read it for about 5 years, I want to say. I think it was about 2019, something like that I last read it. I really, really enjoy it. I'm very much looking forward to it. This is the old sort of style that I've got the whole series of. This is actually the second version of this, because again, a bit like my Tad Williams Memory, Sorrow and Thorn, I have worn this book out entirely, and in fact it fell to pieces, so I had to, luckily, before they changed all the artwork, get this one again. Yeah, looking forward to reading it. I love Jordan. It was it was alongside Tad Williams. I read Memory of Sorrow and Thorn and Wheel of Time, sort of off and on, dipping into one, dipping into another. And it was what really got me into fantasy. So I'm looking forward to getting back into it. I know there's things like The Slog. I don't care. I just want to read a bit of Robert Jordan and just enjoy that world. Okay, number 2 is a big boy. I've never read any of it. It is, I hope I'm saying this right, it's Malazan Book of the Fallen. I know from other people talking that it is a big boy. There's a lot into it. It's a hefty read. It's really, really tricky, but I look forward to that. As you've seen from some of my other choices, I mean, I started with Tad Williams and Robert Jordan. Hopefully I will enjoy this as much. I did read a blurb, I think, for the first one about a day or two ago in a bookshop, and I was like, oh, there's a lot of names on here, just on the blurb. So that gives me an idea of the density of the book. But so many people say who have read it and who have gone through it that it is incredible. So for me, I'm looking forward to that one. I'm really looking forward to all of this list. I don't think there's one on here that I'm like, oh, I don't really want to read that. I'm game for all of it. I love reading. I love discovering more. And I think what I'm using this for is a chance to discover more. Because in the past, I found myself slipping back into reading what's cozy and what's, I know, like, I mean, I've read Wheel of Time quite a few times. I've read Memory, Sorrow and Thorn quite a few times. But I always tend to find myself going back through and rereading things rather than branching out into new stuff, which is hopefully what this is going to do. It's going to help me branch out. And if you've got any suggestions for newer stuff, anything that because I know a lot of these are sort of classics, even the modern classics. If there is some new stuff out there, I always like finding new stuff, and I'm really interested to read lots more fantasy because it's just the best form of escapism. Saying that, number 1 is a nice cozy classic. It is, of course, Lord of the Rings. What can you say about Lord of the Rings? It is brilliant. In fact, actually, before Tad Williams, before Robert Jordan, there was J.R. Tolkien for me. I had the most hideous version of The Hobbit when I was younger. In fact, I've had about 3 or 4 different versions over the years. I'll try and put up the cover art for it, but it was just this awful picture that just should have given me nightmares. But yeah, I read that a lot. I also read a graphic novel of it at school that we had from the library. I can remember that. I remember playing the games, watching the films. I just loved it. It was brilliant, and I'm very much looking to delve back into this now. I've read The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and The Silmarillion several times. So what I think I'll do is I'll probably read them again, because this is going to probably take me a while. And I'll also delve into some of the other works. I really like to read things like Children of Húrin, Beren and Luthien, and all of those other kind of tie-in novels. I think it'd be interesting to delve into them as well. But of course, we'll always do the classics as well. So that is my reading list for maybe the next year or two, I don't know, depending on how long it's going to take me. I have already started. I am just about halfway through book 2 of the Powder Mage trilogy now, so I'm going to crack on and get the first review out for that one as well. Please make suggestions of what I should do. Follow along if you can. Read along if you want to. It'd be really interesting to talk to people about their experiences they're going through, even if it's a reread. I'm having a really interesting time with Powder Mage, as it is a reread. Sort of remembering what I'd read in the past and my reaction to it then and my reaction to it now. So it's a really interesting place to be. But yeah, as I say, like, share, follow, do all the stuff. But just join me on this, and I hope you enjoy the journey. See you later.